What's going on, XCFL? It is your boy Regan back with another Pardon Regan's Interruption podcast. Got 3 episodes out now. This is our big 3rd episode. Guys, we've tied the 3 and Out podcast. We're kind of passing quite a few others. I know a lot had kind of 1 or 2. 3 podcasts. That means we're kind of semi-consistent now. Gentlemen, we've got the full crew here. We've got Wings. Wings, what's up, buddy?
What's up? How's it going?
I got Drew.
Howdy, Cupcake.
And we got Mr. One and Only, our 31st best user, according to the Van and Brian Show podcast, with Nick. Can't forget Nick. Nick was. I blame Nick just as much for that damage that was done to the entire league. But Bucket, how are you today, sir?
I'm hurting today.
I'm sure that was an oof. It was oof worthy. Me, 15. As long as I'm above JMO, that was the first thing I checked. I was like, I'm above JMO, we're good. I got no problem with that. You could have put me at 31. As long as I'm above JMO, I'm cool with it. Well, actually, no. 31 would have hurt. It would have really hurt.
Did it? Yeah.
Did it? Yeah. I mean, you would know, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a perfect segue into our flaming hot takes. We are going to have our classic 3 big questions. We're going to have 3 big topics. We're going to move on to our clown of the week and our user of the week. So stay tuned. Got a lot of good stuff for you. Got a very unique part of this podcast, which is going to be our learning curve. So we're actually going to introduce a new segment that's going to be pretty interesting. We've got a couple cool rules for you. We'll kind of cover that when we get to it. It'll be our 3rd segment. Second one, we're going to be kind of just debating some just general positional things in the XCFL. But our first topic, it's got to be the one and only Van and Brian Show came out with their list of power rankings. They did some of us on the show very dirty. They did some of us on the show meh. All right, that's pretty fair. We're going in order. Our 31st best user in 32nd worst user, according to the Van and Brian Show, in the XCFL, only above Guac. I mean, on the bright side, you're better than Guac, but also on the bright side, or on the not so bright side, you're only better than Guac. How does it make you feel?
I think that the easiest way to answer that question is by bailing them out a little bit. Obviously, they didn't see me dismantle Doughboy for a second time, right? I'm just kidding. No, I have to be better. I have too good of a roster to be 2-7 right now. It's not acceptable. I agree with where they're putting me. It hurt, but it was more like a realization hurt. Like I need to be better than this. Not like I didn't take it to heart or anything. I haven't carved Brian's name in the wall.
In the wall or in a voodoo doll.
Right.
I'm sure Drew has.
I'm gonna have to figure this out.
Drew, can't you just forward in the mail? Can't you just forward your Brian voodoo doll to Brackett? Can he take that over for you?
If he wants it.
I mean, it's probably pretty obliterated by this point. I'm surprised that thing still exists, but no, it did.
Pick up the pieces.
Sew it all together. Oh man, So Brackett. I mean, you did get kind of underrated. We'll say that'll be as kind as a way as I can say it. Who do you think? Who other on the list? Give me a couple quick hits. Who do you think, in your opinion? We'll say one so we can save some for the others. Who's somebody in your opinion that was underrated?
I mean, the easy one here for me is underrated was Jack. I mean, I know that they put him at 5, and 5 is still incredible, but he needs to be higher on the list than that. That's an easy bailout for me to answer that question. Jack should be 1 or 2. 3 being the absolute most closed-minded person in the league.
That's fair. But we'll go ahead and go to Drew. Drew, give us your hot takes. What's your opinion on it? What's your just first thought when you were listening to it? And who's your most underrated person on the list? You can include yourself because we're not the Van and Brian Show.
So, believe it or not, I'm not pissed off about 13. you know what? I'm one below Kylo, which is pretty dope. Um, and to be honest, I knew it was coming, and Drew's never won anything. Okay, sure, that's fine. Maybe I'll win something. Probably not. But I'll still be great. I'll still be great in the regular season. Right?
Yeah, because that's when it matters. That's when you win championships.
You know what? I'm gonna win the most division titles this Madden.
I'm sure you will.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I would certainly hope you would.
Oh, I don't know.
We're really bracket. I know you're not talking to me.
Brackets arguing for me to win the most division titles. What do you mean?
Yeah, I said what I meant.
Okay, so what was I doing? Underrated?
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it. You know what? I don't give the AFC South love, but I'm gonna give Riot love right here. 29. Riot's been has been my probably toughest opponent in all the games in the AFC South. I got lucky to beat him in week 1. That was a huge comeback. He kind of threw it away. No thanks to Dak. But Riot.
Oh, he didn't catch it.
Riot's gonna beat a lot of other people that's in front of him. And have Sean at 23. Come on. I'm sorry, but Sean's not better than Riot. But you know what? We're not the Van and Brian podcast. We're not drinking ourselves half to death before we do the show.
That's
but
fair.
Other than that,
Wings, I know you wrote an article about this. Just give us some quick hits. About your article. I know you want to shout that out, and give us your most underrated.
Okay, so I did my article, and I'm changing it up. I said that Van was overrated in the article, but I'm going to switch it and say that he's underrated, and that he should be number 1, and he's going to win the Super Bowl this year. And everyone's going to be shitting egg rolls when he wins.
"Quote unquote," egg rolls will be shit. Fantastic.
I'm back at Van.
All right. Yeah, I think that's an appropriate way to handle it. Him being this close, you might as well toss it back up there. Yeah, that's sickening, but okay. So, all right, I'm going to give you my hot takes. I will be honest. I was kind of in the same boat, Drew. I feel like they rated me pretty honestly. I think it's fair. I think that everything they said I did not disagree with, and I was good. First off, I saw my most underrated user. When I first saw this ranking, I was like, all right, okay, we're in for a wild ride. And then it was pretty accurate from there on out, I think, give or take. But I was proud of my ranking. I think 15 is good, especially when JMO is 16. So my most underrated user is going to be Bracket, hands down. Bracket got screwed. Right off the rack, I was like, this is. It was like that was when I knew we were in for a wild ride. Is when I saw Bracket at 31, I was like, wow, they're coming for necks. Okay, I might be at like 30. I was like, well, here it comes. Taking a good team and then doing bad. I'm like, wow, all right, that's a fun time. So. But no, I genuinely have Bracket about 24, 22, somewhere in the 20s. In that third quarter range, he should be anywhere. He could pretty much fall anywhere for me between, obviously above Doughboy, but like Doughboy, Sean, Sparty, he's all in that range, I'd say.
You could probably switch him with Sean, honestly.
That's a fair assessment. I'm sure Sean would have his words, would think differently, but, so we're going to go reverse order now. I'm going to get most overrated. And I wanted this one because, Van, listen. In no Madden, in no season in any Madden, in no particular play or any particular drive are you ever going to be top 5 in the XCFL.
Whoa. Back off my boy Van.
Never. Van, hands down, the most overrated one on this list. I have him below Kylo, actually. I would put him just above Drew on this list. I have Diesel better than him in his own division. I have VBD better than him any given day. I have Brap better than him any given day. Prince, it's toss-up. I don't know why Prince is that high, I'll be honest. Pride, better than Van. Tosh, easily. Jack, Brian, Nick, Wayne, everybody. 13 is where I would have put him on this list. Drew would have dropped down. No, Drew probably be a little high. I don't know where. But Van, no. He doesn't even crack top 10 for me. I'll hand the baton off to you, Wings. Who is your most overrated player on this list?
Let's see. Let me look at
Hold
this
on,
list.
you can't say yourself.
Well, I was gonna say myself.
Yeah, you can't
because
do it.
I think Van should be one, but
Okay.
All right, so you already covered that. Next.
you said most overrated.
Yeah, most overrated on this list. Who should be lower?
I'll go with Sean. I kind of touched on it earlier. I think you could
Ooh.
honestly drop him late 20s ish.
Who would you put him below? Using this list.
Using this list?
Yeah, like I did with Van, where I dropped him down to below Kylo. I'd put him at 13.
I'd probably drop him
Or 12, I guess.
Below Riot.
Okay. So he'd be
like 29.
Yeah, 29. All right. So you got Heath, but we won't talk about bracket. We'll ignore yeah, using this list. Okay. So 29,
I'm saying
30.
using
Okay.
this list,
Okay.
But if we were switching the list around, he'd probably be like 27 ish.
Would you care to explain, since you're coming from our man Sean's neck? Would you care to explain the reasoning behind?
I mean, it's not really so much Sean being worse than people. I just think Farty, I think he's a lot better than his record this year. He just played me super tough. I think Boone's better than 25.
Whoa now.
I think
Okay.
I think he's
Yeah.
better
All right,
than his
cut
record.
it.
Yeah,
Boot him. We're done.
Come on.
No, I'm kidding. Go.
You know,
Yeah,
Boone,
go ahead.
You
Go
know
ahead.
Boone's not that bad. I think Higgy's better than his record this year for sure, and I definitely think Riot's better than his record. So I could see all of them being better than Sean any given day. But
Noted. Well, appreciate your take, Wings. Glad you're here for this week, by the way. You weren't here last week, but we might mention that later. So,
Whoa.
we're going to go for... Who did I start with? I started with you, Bracket, didn't I?
I was first, so it should be Drew.
Okay, Mr. Drew.
So we're doing overrated.
Overrated.
Okay.
Who's the highest? Who is too high on this list?
Okay. So before I say this, I didn't get this power rankings because it looked at past playoff performances, it looked at their team now, it looked at the user as a whole. I'm just kind of confused where we're coming from. We should have probably identified what we're doing. But I mean, the one, so I actually have, let's see. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, okay. So the first overrated is Brian. I don't know what Nick, Brian, and Van were doing. Like, they circle jerked each other in the podcast.
All right.
Questionable.
Yeah, it might be questionable, but you know what? Okay, Nick, fine. Yes, Brian. He threw damn near 40 interceptions last year. He's not number 3. I agree with Van being maybe ahead of me. And then the one that kind of confuses me a little bit is Pride. I think Pride's good, but I mean, I don't know. I beat him by 40. So, and then Prince, I haven't even seen Prince play, I'll be honest. And then I also think Boone should be lower. He's just not. He's so washed up. It's unbelievable. If you're starting at 82 speed safety in this game, you just need to put it down. You just need to stop.
I thought it was funny how they called him out for his desire to create a storyline as just a facade for his losing season. When it's time to pack it in and just call it quits on a season, that's when the storylines whip out. I was like, wow, they really came for this man's throat, man. I was like, all right.
Right. I mean, how can you start an 82 speed safety in a game where speed matters again? Like, my slowest linebacker is still like 3 ticks faster than that safety. I have defensive linemen that are faster than that safety. He deserves to be lower.
That's fair. It's either he's made content in art form, and he's made tanking an art form. Boone is artful at both.
Well, if we're talking about tanking, we could talk about a couple other people.
That's a fair point. That is a very fair point. And it did not take tanking into account because it was almost like looking at this season sometimes. Like for Higgy's example, Higgy's probably the most common thing that gets thrown around with tanking. Him and Kylo, it's like how. Okay, never mind. But Mr. Bracket.
Kylo beat me on accident. He tripped into beating me. So
that's kind of sad. I don't know who's.
I think he's trying to lose games. I mean, not to
okay, fair.
hit it on the head, but he accidentally lost to me.
Wait, lost or won?
Won. He accidentally beat me. I said that backwards. I apologize.
Oh, good. So who's your overrated?
I got a little bit of shit for this earlier today. Nothing crazy, but I think it's Tosh for the same reason that Drew was confused as to why we put certain players where. I don't think anybody's concerned about Tosh or his ability to figure this game out. Obviously, he's going to get to that point, but he's at this point, which is a current power rankings. At this point, he's not playing great football because he's not really paying attention to the game. I mean, he's 4-3 this year. He certainly put an overwhelming amount of confidence on my head in week 3 last year. I don't think that he earned 6 for his body of work to date. I would probably put him down at the 10 to 13 area. Obviously, he's going to figure this out, and he'll be back in the playoffs regularly. I'm sure of that, but at the moment, I think that they put him too high.
Yeah, I gotta agree. I mean, that's a fair point. I think that right now he is in a tough division, so that kind of has to be accounted for too. But I know that's a fair point. I think we've all presented really unique frames of mind and frames of reference. We just heard from number 31, and they'll probably take your opinion as about as much as you can expect from a 31st best user. I mean, I do want to compliment them. They accomplished their goal, which was to get everybody talking. And man, everybody was talking. It was lively. I mean, I haven't seen main chat explode like that in a very long time. It was. I think they did a great job of it. I just want to compliment them because I know that another podcast is probably going to be looking at this too. It isn't. No, I mean, everybody's going to be.
It's not easy.
Every current content wizard is going to be doing something about this power rankings because with 3 different guys, 3 different opinions, all kind of putting it together. It's a great job by them. So I just want to hats off to the Van and Brian show. Terrible job, but hats off to them for coming up with the idea and executing it. Anyway, so I definitely want to close that out with a compliment and a genuine appreciation. So moving on to the second topic, which is going to be our mill positions. We're going to call it mill positions because when you think about the trade mill, you think about certain guys just seem to be producers of certain positions, and they flood the market at certain positions every year. Take guys like Jack. Corners. He seems to churn out corners like crazy. He churns out, defensive linemen. Do certain positions have more value than others? Obviously, they always will. But our debate here is going to be, each of us are going to go, in round robin style, of which position we think is most valuable. And we'll start with Drew. Drew, who is your most valuable position in the XCFL based on XCFL rules, based on trades, anything? You have as much time as you want to. Or 2 minutes, whichever comes first.
So I'm actually going to change my answer. I was going to say a strong pass rusher, defensive tackle. But I'm actually going to say no one else is going to take it, actually. It's going to be a fast wide receiver. The main reason, I think, well, probably not the main reason because Wings is pretty good, but a huge reason why he won his Super Bowl last year was because of John Ross and Will Fuller. Both guys are, among probably the top 5 fastest wide receivers in the league.
They're damn near uncoverable together.
Exactly. My first game against Wings last year, I lost like 55-7 or something. And I was down 28-0 in a blink of an eye because those guys would just run the field. It was insane. Fast wide receivers above anything else fast wide receivers is probably the most valuable if you can throw the ball and your name's not avocado or bracket. But other than that, I'll pass it on.
All right. Speed wide receivers definitely are important. I think that's a good one. Bracket. Who's your most valuable position and why?
Most valuable? So I'm gonna go a little off trend here. Obviously, speed's important in this game, but I think fast pass rushers are going to be one of the most lethal forces. Not until everybody figures it out, obviously, but there are people like Wings who get insta sheds on every single snap. It is abusive. But for users that aren't as good, like my good buddy Alex, Tack McKinley is an absolute nightmare. Alex is the 32 ranked user, but he has forget exactly how many sacks, and my computer is being slow, so I'm not going to be able to pull that up. But the amount of pressure that Tack McKinley forces by himself has put Alex in spots to win games. I mean, I saw him give away JMO the game that he played him in, and I swear that was tough to watch. But he's in your face on every play, and you have to account for him. So fast pass rushers are going to be my most valuable go-to once everybody figures out where the speed's at.
And I think this year they kind of brought him back. I think the speed is definitely going to be there for linebackers, even in the draft. Does that devalue this position at all?
I don't think so. Not to me.
Even though, we can get them more now?
I'm guessing so. My guess is that you're going to get a lot of solid pass rushers, but there are only going to be a few that are given the elite speed. I mean, Tack McKinley's got 88 speed, 89 XL. He's a Brian Burns that's slightly older. Players like that are going to be such a problem to deal with later in the cycle when they get devved up. So, yeah, no, I don't think that the watered down solid ones are going to affect the absolute nightmares.
Yeah, like that makes sense. Like Montez Sweat, very similar. No, I think that's a great, great argument.
Chase Young, Montez Sweat, and Josh Uche on the same team.
Yeah, it's brutal.
That's actually, you guys should make that illegal. I don't know.
No, if Jack wasn't a Redskins fan, we'd be very suspect. But Mr. Wings, I know your position is one that this same guy, Mr. Jack, really covets. What's your most valuable position? Unless you changed it, like Drew calling an audible. What is your most valuable position to have in the XCFL?
Yeah, I'm not switching it up. I'm gonna go with a really good cover corner is the top position you need, because you can't use your pick, you can't lurk around in your zones or anything, and you really need people to stop the Will Fullers, the John Rosses, or at least somewhat neutralize them. And if you don't, you're just gonna get absolutely torched.
Yeah. So would you say, in your opinion, for corners, which is more important, zone or man, and why?
Man, for sure. And I think I really don't notice a difference in zone coverage until they hit like 90, which is, I'm pretty sure that's the threshold. I don't know if it's a threshold for 21. But for man, it's normally just route running versus man coverage. And if you have a guy with high man, you can just sit in man, you can go cover 2, you can blitz people, and just kind of leave them on an island. And they have better man coverage and route running, they'll just lock them up. It makes it easy.
Yeah, that certainly makes sense. Man coverage is kind of harder to find, and I feel like if you have bad man corners, you're getting cooked every time.
I have an example of that, actually. This is actually going to take us back to last cycle with Boone and his actually very good cornerbacks. If you looked at their ratings, they weren't they high in? They were very high in zone, but really low in man.
Yes.
I'm talking like
he had zone corners.
85 plus zone, and then like 62 man.
Yep.
and he wonders why he got torched.
It's a great question. Yeah, he sure did. I think that, and it's hard, especially in the XCFL where you have to run 30% man. For me, if you don't have high man coverage, you're gonna get cooked on those 30% of plays that you run. Doesn't matter how good your zone is. If you have to run man once every 3 plays, you're screwed. I mean, that's just my kind of opinion on it. I've never been a high corner guy. I've never been really high on corners just because I've kind of survived in the XCFL with just 80-ish man cover corners. I just have to have a lot of them. Just enough to where nobody's getting exploited. They're all kind of the same. I don't usually have my corners move, but this kind of leads me to my position that I think is most important, and this is a personal thing. Nick might be in this box. He probably would have gone for all of what was available to me. Fast wide receiver probably would have been a good one, but I really liked that one, Drew. That was good. And strong pass rusher for this Madden is in there as well, but not as valuable to me as what will always be the most important, and that's safety. Safety for me is the most valuable position in the XCFL because of position change rules. Position change rules and depth chart rules, no other position can play sub linebacker except a linebacker or a safety. So, and with COD this year, the change of direction is going to be huge. If you don't have a good change of direction player sitting there at the sub linebacker, they're going to get cooked on crossers, on little go routes, post routes, everything. Anytime they have to turn around and get behind them and try to make a play on it. Even Bobby Wagner. Bobby Wagner's great, has 84 zone or something like that. Only 80 or 78 change of direction. And he's one of the elite coverage linebackers in the NFL, and then the XCFL, of course. So safeties at a sub linebacker are unstoppable. You need about 3, if not 4 safeties on any good winning team. You see this happen a lot. Fast safeties, hard-hitting safeties. There's so many different ways you can use your safeties. They can play corner if they're good enough. I mean, to me, I love safeties. I don't know how many times I said safety, but I need to say it one more time. Safety. Easily the best, most valuable position. I mean, obviously, Perry Pennell, best safety of all time in the XCFL, easily. No contest. Mike Bly, who is he? We don't know him. I'm kidding. But for real, I just think safety is the most versatile and valuable position in the XCFL today. Now, that leads me to my least valuable. Since I'm kind of closing us out with the most valuable, I'll switch over to our least valuable position, and for me, that's going to be quarterbacks. Now, this is a tough one for me because quarterbacks are valuable. They have value, but there are so many good, serviceable quarterbacks in the XCFL every year in free agency. What makes them so non-valuable, though, to me, is how much you have to pay for quarterbacks now. Backup quarterbacks are absurd. I'm not going to keep a backup quarterback on my roster, or even an average quarterback on my roster, if you have to pay him $15 million a year. 18, 20. I'm taking a shot in the draft, and the draft just craps out fantastic quarterbacks. Undrafted talent quarterbacks is what, for example, Ace's nasty superstar dev guy was a projected undrafted talent. He was not good whatsoever by any standards in any other Madden. And he comes out with 90 throw power, 80-something speed, I mean, almost 80 pass accuracies across the board. He's disgusting. Quarterbacks have no value this year. Draft one, develop one, except for freaking Boone. Even he gets a garbage quarterback somehow. He still finds a Viper in a year where Vipers are non-existent. I don't get it. I mean, all the quarterbacks have A or A plus throw power. How can you miss on that? So I don't know. That's just my opinion on it. I think quarterbacks just don't have as much value as they should, even in trades. I mean, we saw last year. Who was it? I can't remember who was the Falcons last year, but they traded Eli Pope. Eli Pope was a fantastic quarterback who went to Sparty for next to nothing because it was contract year. And again, that contract hits hard. Nobody wants it. If you don't have a 95 or higher young quarterback, I would not say re-sign them. I say let them hit free agency, cash in on that dev trait from the comp system, and move on.
Yeah, I agree with you to an extent. I mean, if I didn't have Joe Burrow and have the LSU bias, that's what I'd be doing, is developing a QB rookie contract and then dump him and draft another one.
Who have we seen do that? I think it's Nick. Nick does that pretty consistently. But no, I mean, and you see the best users win with rookie quarterbacks because they're cheaper. They can build around them. They build up the positions, and it's brilliant. I really do love that style, and I haven't been able to do that these last couple Maddens because I've had Lamar Jackson. So I'm looking forward to trying out that. I mean, we're seeing how bad I am though with Russell Wilson. So God forbid the chaos and the. Yeah, I might have. Yeah, we might have to just throw away the headset because I it's too tempting. But Mr. Let me see who was next. Oh, Wings. So Wings, who's your most value or least valuable position? I'm sorry.
Least valuable.
Yes, sir.
I mean, this is an obvious one, but I'm gonna go with O-line. If you go and
How about that?
if you go and look at the O-line that I won a Super Bowl with last year, it was like 75, 68, 65, 67, and like a 70 or something across the board. And I wasn't getting sacked very often. I think Mixon was averaging like almost 6 yards a carry. It really didn't matter. And as you can see, Ronnie Stanley sat on the trade block for what? Almost a full season?
I was getting ready to say something about that. I'd like to attest that I got almost as much as Boone got for his quarterback. His 23-year-old Tua Tagovailoa.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
we don't justify your trade rate. No, you don't use your trade rate to justify the value of a position. That's garbage. Right. No, stop. To be fair, I mean, offensive line, what really sucks, and I think Wings, I mean, I don't know if you're about to mention it, but dude, there's no pass rush this year. I feel like that's what's killing offensive line the most is like, why would I pay if there's no pass rush anyway? I mean, okay, cool. So they're going to not pass rush me harder? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah. Like if you're not playing someone that uses D-line and has like a solid pass rusher, you're gonna have all the time in the world, no matter who you have on the line.
Even then, you double team whoever if they consistently. Off the edge, it's harder because it doesn't do the double teams quite as well. That's why I don't like defensive tackle because you can get double teamed so easily and they're just completely neutralized. But man, that's tough. I genuinely.
And as Brackett knows, my 66 overall rookie was just annihilating his like 86 overall right tackle.
Yeah.
So it didn't really matter.
I don't want to talk about it.
No, we heard quite a bit of that from what I've picked up in just the casual DM every now and then. I've heard of that frustration from Brackett. Now he definitely was like, yeah, he turned Ronnie Stanley or who was it? It was Orlando Brown. He turned Orlando Brown into like a turnstile or a carousel. Just constantly.
Yeah, he looked like Josh Norman tonight.
Oh man.
Basically.
Jeez. Well, that's unfortunate, and I agree. I mean, I think it's especially with no pass rush, offensive line gets even more garbage. So, Brackett, who's your least valuable position and why?
So for me, it's going to be running back, and that maybe to spite myself a little bit later on. Running backs are something that you can kind of make do with. I mean, if you're going to struggle to run the ball, you're going to struggle to run the ball regardless. Or if you're going to be good at running the ball, you really don't need that elite running back. I was just scrolling back through the approved trades, and there was only 7 or 8 running backs that have been involved in trades whatsoever so far this cycle. And one of those trades included 2 running backs. So we've also seen a lot of other dudes posted on the trade block. I mean, any bites on Derrick Henry there, bud?
Joe Mixon sat on the trade block forever.
Begging me to take him. You need him so much. I was like, I don't even use the running back I have.
Yeah. See, I agree completely with you. Derrick Henry went down one game. It was just a 1-game injury, and Darrington Evans went in for me. And that's a 92 speed, 93 excel, 85 change of direction guy. And Derrick Henry will never touch the field again for me unless it's on the goal line. Ever.
Yeah. Yep.
You have got to have a fast running back. And Derrick Henry, Ezekiel Elliott just isn't it.
It's too easy to make do with what you have. So, yeah, mine's halfbacks.
Now, it's a good call. And I think something Nick always said with halfbacks is he said that since you're using them all the time that they're on the field or all the time that they're in the play, it makes them less valuable than a wide receiver who you can't control while he's running his route. You can't control how well he gets separation from the DB. You can call a play,
Exactly.
but the running back, it really is user skill. You can have the best running back in the world, and if you don't see the hole and you don't hit the hole, you're not getting any yards. I mean, case in point. But yeah, Drew, we're kind of finishing off this segment with you. Who's your least valuable position, and why'd you pick them?
It's actually going to piggyback off of my last answer. I said speed wide receivers were most valuable, but I think and I don't agree with this whatsoever, but I think I think possession wide receivers are undervalued. I think to most people they're least valuable because people see what Wings does, see what's that little shit's name? Taj Beverly did last year.
That little shit.
I had to take a
Right.
shot.
You mean
But
that little Hall of Famer?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I think a 6'3", 88 speed possession wide receiver is not bad. But to the rest of the XCFL, they look at him like 88 speed. What the hell's wrong with you? They like have a heart attack when you ask if they want him, and it's like in this bracket. I've had this conversation with you before. You were wondering why you can't throw the ball, right? And you look
I
at your wide
actually agree with you
receivers,
here. I
and
think
you
that
look at your
yeah.
you look at your wide receivers, and your tallest guy was 5'11". If you want to win a jump ball in this game, you've got to have a tall wide receiver, and you just signed a tall wide receiver, correct?
I did. I went out and got Zay Jones, 6'2". He's got a 90 special catch, 87 jumping. He's 90 speed though. I'm gonna see what he
Hey,
does.
you want height? I actually heard that you have Aries pick, right?
Uh-huh.
I heard that there's a
receiver up there.
6'8". No. I heard there was a 6'8" tight end sitting in Seattle right now. He would love to be in purple and black.
Okay,
Um,
let's move on. Okay, next segment.
I
and
thought we were talking about
and we'll
wide
call it.
receiver.
Oh no, tight end. I mean, I feel like tight end is also valuable. Underrated for sure. I'm kidding.
Isn't there a
Mark
really
Andrews.
good?
Can we move on?
Yeah, moving on.
Pardon Regan's interruption.
Yeah, pardon Regan's interruption. All right, we're going to move on to our last segment. This is going to be a fun one. It's going to be called The Learning Curve. Somebody that does something really good in the XCFL, we're going to pick their brain, for the learning curve. That'll be our goal. So here it is. We've got Wings here. We're going to ask him all kinds of questions. So he is going to give us fully, because he's won a Super Bowl. He has nothing to lose here. He's going to pull a Jack. Jack's famous for this, kind of dropping little nuggets of truth in Maine. We're going to go round robin. Everybody's going to ask a question. We're going to do this 3 times. We all going to ask him questions about what he does, pick his brain, any kind of question. And Wings has agreed to be fully 100% honest with us. Wings, congratulations on your Super Bowl win. You made the PRI podcast very proud. So we want to just give you a second to bask in it.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. We're going to roast you later, so we'll make up for it. Drew, lead us off. What's your first question?
Okay. First time I played you. First play of the game, I blitzed because I thought you were going to run the ball. Every time I blitz, should I be pressing my cornerbacks?
I wouldn't say every time, but what you want to do if you're blitzing is disguise your blitz first off, because once your safeties move down and it's just obvious that you're all out blitzing, all I have to do is audible to say a slant if I know it's going to beat a corner or beat your cornerback, or just an easy pass, then it's 6 if you're blitzing everybody. So I would go and mess around with your coverage adjustments and either base a line, or if you have really good man corners, pressing works because it'll buy them some time to get to the QB. And if you're blitzing 6, I like to use one of the linebackers that's blitzing so that you can get to the QB faster.
What's your go-to man beater? When you know man coverage is coming, what are you going to?
If it's cover 2 man, I'm usually going to either like a shallow cross concept where there's a drag coming down and a tight end doing an N over the middle, and I just read high-low. Or I like crossing routes, and if you have a corner that isn't good and he's guarding the slot guy, I'm putting him on a crosser, and he's getting toasted.
All right. How do you get so much pressure?
I blitz
Nice and
a lot.
broad.
No,
lot.
I meant.
But
off
are
of
you meaning
standard
pass?
coverages when you drop back into coverage? I have less than 2 seconds to get the ball off, and your D line is nothing special. I've I've been arguing with myself for days about this. I don't understand. So what is the secret there?
Okay, well, pretty much what I do is, you know, the little bars on the O line, right? And they
Sure.
show like how many times you've done the certain move, and they'll be more successful against that move further on, right? So if that bar is super low or doesn't have any at all, then pretty much any rush move, if they're a solid pass rusher, is going to work. But once that bar starts ticking up, if it's a better offensive lineman, I'll flip my outside linebackers and go at the other one, because the bar will go all the way down if you do that. Or I'll switch to another guy on a line that I haven't been using pass rush moves with, and use their him.
Wow. Interesting. Yeah, that's good advice.
All
And
right.
you don't want to do the same move over and over again. So like, I'll bull rush you a couple times, right? And then
Okay.
the O lineman will recognize they bull rush. The next time I'll do a swim move or a club, and you just gotta like vary the moves that you do so that the offensive lineman doesn't build that bar up.
Keep them guessing like real life. Got it.
What's your second move? Because dude, if you get locked up on your first move, do you just accept they're gonna get the pass, or what is your go-to like second move after that?
I normally just do whatever the next move is, right? So if I do a bull rush, then I'll just go to a club if that doesn't work, and then I mean, usually you're not going to get there in time on the second move, but
True.
like, you just keep doing the right stick,
Okay.
and try to get off of it.
My question is, do you hold sprint right off the bat whenever you get the? Because it used to be where you tap it once to get a jump at the snap. Is that even a thing anymore, or do you just go straight into your right stick pass rush moves?
I don't think that's a thing anymore, but I just kind of hold down the trigger anyways, and what
Okay.
I've kind of noticed, I don't know if this is like true necessarily, but like if your pass rusher is kind of like a little bit like on the edge, like I don't know, wider, and they get that head start, I feel like the bull rush moves work a lot better for whatever reason. But if like you're on a defensive tackle on the line, I feel like using the club move or the swim moves work a little bit better.
How do you decide with the time that you have? You've got 15 seconds or less, because by the time you call the play, you've already chewed off enough clock, and we've got rules to prevent you from running the clock down to 5-10 seconds every play.
Mm-hmm.
How do you decide whether it's time to change the play, to whether it be a run or you just don't like the look? How do you decide that quickly every time?
It starts with my playbook, and I've gone through, I've handpicked all my plays, I've set all the audibles to what I want for any given situation, and pretty much before I pick a play, I'll know what audibles are in that formation. So I'll pick a play that's not one of those four audibles, right? And I'll have two plays in mind when I pick a play. I'll be like, I'll pick a counter
You don't have
play,
to give,
right?
yeah, you don't have to give specifics. I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I can pick a counter play, but I know my audible is like an inside zone. So like depending on what look they give me, I'll either switch to the inside zone or I'll stay with the counter.
Wings, in Madden 20, I was a run-heavy team. Okay. Do you believe that most drives, you know what? No. Whenever you get a first down, should you be running the ball on first down to try to get that 3 to 4 yards?
I do it, but I think people have noticed that I tend to run on first down most of the time, and have been stacking the box on me. But I like running on first down because either you're gonna get 4 to 6 yards and be in a really good position to either run or pass, or if you get stuck, you get stopped at the line of scrimmage, you have 2 plays to pass, is my thinking, to get the first. But I don't think you should predetermine running on first down or passing on first down. I think you should just go by whatever the look they give you.
Right, and that's you know what? I'm kind of getting offense figured out personally, but when I watch other people, they're passing on first downs. And I mean, when I watch people towards the bottom of the power rankings, they're passing on first down. So instead of it being second and say 6, we got second and 10. And then that takes running completely out of the picture for most.
That's true.
I feel like.
I've been there. Who are you most scared of in the playoffs? In the XCFL, period.
Scared of?
Period. What team are you, when you see this team lined up on the same side of the bracket as you, which team, and it's got to be one, you got to pick one team that you're just, I do not want to play this team in the playoffs.
Yeah. Who do you go? Yeah, I'd rather not play him if I had to.
Well, not
Easy
like
answer. Tennessee Titans.
Oh my god.
yeah, it's Jack. 100%.
Why?
Well, he knows how to play defense, and
That helps.
he's really good at running the
Yeah, I
ball
really
too.
hope so.
And it really pisses me off. Like, if someone can run the ball really well against me, I don't know. I just kind of get bored. I get really annoyed, and I start doing stuff that I normally don't do.
All right, bracket. Give us the rundown. What's your last question for him?
Where do you think the most effective position to draft is in the first round? I'm not going to ask you to go that far ahead.
Okay, what place? That's a hard question.
Yeah.
Because it's very different between a top 10 pick and a bottom 10 pick. Where's where Wings usually picks.
Bottom.
Well,
Bottom 10 is hard. Yeah. Best value. What's the best value in the first?
Correct.
value in
That's
the
what I'm
first
asking.
round.
Okay, sorry. I just want to clarify your question.
Well,
Yeah.
it's really team dependent, but I love taking a DB, whether that be a safety or corner, and I just try to get the best measurables with decent coverage stats if you can, and just try to build them.
Moving on to our next segment here, we're going to have Pardon Regan's Interruptions Clown of the Week. Last week it was Mr. Drew.
So Wings is going to be our clown of the week. Last week he dipped on us. We, I don't want to say we're forced to fill his spot with the worst user in the league. Because I mean, we're not
Wait,
getting
Bracket was
forced
there?
to add anyone. No, that's actually Alex.
Oh,
Or
sorry.
Avocado.
Sorry.
Yeah, so that was 32 and 31, believe it or not, on the same podcast.
Wow.
And we're forced to have that.
Hurts.
But luckily Wing showed up today. He had some econ to do this weekend. Waited till last minute to take a test.
And there's also
so
not a
that's-
bloody
that's-
chance we would have sat here asking Drew questions about how to make our gameplay better. Drew's answer would be, yeah, go to a division with garbage users.
Okay, we're
Every
gonna
time.
move on.
Sorry.
Maybe you should take my advice, number 15.
Ooh.
But other than that, that's half the reason why Wings is a clown of the week. The second reason is if you guys have not looked in the highlight section of our Discord chat, there is, what was it? Maybe a 70-yard pick six.
I was like
That
95.
Oh,
It was
I'm
95.
Even better.
Just
That-
the most egregious play.
It is
ever.
egregious. And he defended it. He defended it.
Oh,
Yeah. Wings picks off Diesel up, 30? 40?
He was
Pick
35,
one,
up 34 points.
That's 34.
So up 34 points. And Wings gets tackled by every single person on the field. His own teammates were on top of him. And this man has the audacity to sit there and watch his player come out from the bottom of the pile, rising up like he's the fucking devil. Breaking the Red Sea, and looking and seeing his safety running down the field after being tackled by, 21 other people?
Drew, I'm
And
not
then-
sure your theology is accurate, but continue.
You know what? I don't care. Because this is ridiculous. And then he sees that happen, and he knows it's a terrible glitch, and he continues to celebrate the whole way down the field.
Yeah,
Terrible.
it was cringy. It was one that was very, very
Horrible
painful.
sportsmanship.
It was one that was hard to watch. Every single person that watched it in highlights was like, "What? What?" It was. I mean, so okay, we don't usually give people a chance to defend themselves, but
No, we're not going to.
we're not going
That's,
to.
No,
Okay.
that's disgusting. I can't believe you can look yourself in the mirror today.
So we have our XCFL user of the week. Just want to congratulate our one and only Ace. Ace, you've put out some fantastic content, and it's shown in the user rankings by actually rising up to number 2. Now you've done that via a lot of different opportunities. One has been your broadcasting. Your broadcasting was great. I loved it, and you provided fun, enjoyable content. Another is going to be the Aloha XCFL podcast. I believe that's what we renamed it to, but previously known as the NFC West podcast, and that is going to be just a really good, warm, easy listening podcast, and I think he does a great job of hosting that. Ace, you've done a fantastic job, buddy, and I'm proud to have you in my division, and I've really enjoyed our battles on the field as well. They've been close. They've been pretty wild, and I think that you play a clean game, you play an enjoyable game, and you're one of our best users in the XCFL. So congratulations, Ace.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Hell of
And
a
I
job,
think
buddy.
I think I'm not 100% sure, but doesn't he produce the Van and Brian show also? Yeah, I mean I could be wrong, but I think they said it on a podcast, so give him credit there too.
Yeah, I thought they snuck that in there. So yeah, congrats to Ace. I mean, he's just a great guy all the way around. If you have any questions about podcast or broadcasting, he's more than happy to help you out. He's learned, he's self-taught, everything like that. He does graphics too, and it's guys like him that make the league a better place. So congrats to Ace on being our XCFL user of the week, and that has been episode 3 of Pardon Regan's Interruption. So great show. Thank you so much for listening in. It's been a privilege and a blast here. So this is Regan, Brackett, Wings, Andrew, and we are signing out.
See you later, guys.
Later.
Later.